went to the elders. Mind you, I was 10. I went to the elders and I was like, my mom says that I can't get baptized, but I want to get baptized. And this is all happening those 2 years, and I'm just playing the part. I'm just like, I have to. And I would keep asking, like, Jehovah, how do I leave? Like, I'm about to lose everything I've ever known. The only family I have is my mom. Like, how can I like let that go? When I came in, they said they had prayed about it and whatnot, and that they've decided that I'm going to be disfellowshipped. And I was like, thank God. Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel and welcome back for another episode of Ex-JW Women Speak Out. I am back again this week with another strong, courageous woman who is ready to share her story in hopes that it will help others as well as help her with her healing process. So, welcome back everyone, and please welcome our guest today, Paulina.
Hi everyone.
Thank you so much for coming on today and being willing to do this. I know this is a hard process sometimes. It's a little intimidating to get on camera and share your story, but I'm so thankful that you're willing to do so. And I am just happy to have you here today.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
I know you've watched some of these interviews, so you kind of know how it goes, but I am going to take a step back and I'm going to just kind of give you the spotlight and let you tell your story. So like everybody else, I want you to just kind of start off from the beginning. What's your background with the Jehovah's Witnesses? Were you born and raised in it? Did you come in later? And I will let you just kind of start from there.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, thank you so much for giving this platform for women who obviously have been part of the JW community. I think this is a very healing process for everyone to go through. Just to get started, obviously, I actually wasn't born in it, but it feels like I was. My mom started studying with the Jehovah's Witnesses when I was a year old. I did get to celebrate my first birthday, and there is pictures of that. And then after that, my mom progressed very quickly, and she ended up getting baptized when I was 3, I believe. She was going through a divorce, so she was waiting for that divorce to be done, and then to be able to get baptized, of course. And then from that point forward, my mom was very devout. She was a single mom raising me, of course, as a Jehovah's Witness. So I felt like I was born in it because my whole childhood, like my whole life, was revolved around, preaching, meetings, all the things. So that was pretty much my childhood. It was a very strict childhood. My mom had a very traumatic upbringing. Therefore, when she started studying with the Jehovah's Witnesses and became one of Jehovah's Witnesses, she, I think, brought a lot of her trauma with her, but also being in the JW community, I think, was also healing for her in a way. But I personally feel that she dumped maybe a lot of that trauma on me, raising me in fear that I would go through the same struggles that she did when she was younger. So I don't blame her for any of that. I do feel like it really shaped who I am today, the fact that she did raise me really strict, but I think in other ways it also did do other kinds of trauma to me. My friendships were controlled a lot, who I could hang out with even at the Kingdom Hall. She ended up becoming an auxiliary pioneer and only hanging out with regular pioneers. So we were preaching from 6 a.m. all the way to like 8 p.m. at night. Mind you, she was very like mindful of it as well. Like she would bring me snacks. I would be falling asleep at Bible studies all the time because it was a long day, and I was only like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and I was like, crashing out in the middle of like a Bible study. I was also the little girl that had to like memorize all these Bible scriptures. So when like someone opened the door, I had like a whole, presentation ready, memorized the Bible scripture. And we were in the Spanish congregation. So, us Mexicans, Latin Americans were like, gun ho. So I had to know the whole presentation, memorize that scripture by heart because I didn't know how to read yet. By the age of 5, 6, I knew how to read and write in Spanish and speak it fluently because my mom would literally have me do homework at home. And it was literally learning how to read and write by using the Bible. And that one, like, it was like this whole like brochure that taught you how to read and write that JWs came up with. But I was considered an example child. My mom was considered an example mom in the congregation. Everyone loved her, everyone loved us, but a lot of people did recognize that she was maybe a little bit too strict with me. She would, on the days that I would get babysat, it was required that I would go get babysat by someone that would constantly like preach and stuff so I can go out preaching with them. And like I would go like fully clothed. Yeah, it was crazy. So, but then it gets crazier because as I was growing up, I was maybe like 8, 10 years old. I started staying alone at home because I hated going to babysitters at that point. My mom would have the sisters from the congregation come and pick me up from our apartment so I can go preaching. But my mom would always say, "You're only going to go with them to go preaching. You're not going to do anything else." And I'd be like, "Okay." So I'd go out preaching and stuff, and I was having a grand time. That's all I knew. But then they'd be like, "Oh, we're going to take all the kids to like McDonald's or to like Olive Garden or like, a food place just for us to like have a meal after preaching for a whole day." And my mom would legit say, "No, Paulina's not going. You're taking her back home." So I was like, oh my
No.
gosh. So that was like my whole childhood. I would get in trouble even for hanging out with people in a congregation. And I think my mom had her reasons. I understand her reasons, but at the same time, I don't. They're from the congregation. We just went out preaching. What's the worst that can happen when you're sitting down eating a meal with adults and other kids? But, bless my mom's heart. Um, and then that was like my whole childhood. I always lived with my mom. We ended up moving to another congregation years later. I will say that congregation, I don't want to say it was laxed, but at the same time it was. At that point, I was already in college. She allowed me to go to college. She actually motivated me to go to college, because she said that she didn't want me to like suffer if one day she wasn't going to be around because it's only me and her. We had no one else. We have no other family. So her big thing was do well in school while you're in school. And when you graduate high school, make sure that you do go to college. Now, she did push big for me to go for nursing. I never wanted to do nursing. Never. Like, that was not up my alley. Well, I was in high school. I will say those were like the best years of my life. And I can maybe elaborate once you ask more. But during my high school years, a lot of my teachers were very supportive of me, to the point where like I'm still very close friends with a lot of my teachers. And you can say that I had a double life in high school, but it was not the double life that Jehovah Witnesses paint the picture, like being bad, drug, sex, and, being worldly. It was more my
Yeah.
double life was like hanging out with my teachers and their families. So I was part of this like career readiness program where I was basically trained to be a preschool teacher, my sophomore, junior, and senior year. So um going into high school, I didn't want to be part of any clubs or anything because that's a big no-no. You can't be part of clubs, you can't be part of nothing cool because it's going to take you away from the preaching work, right? But in this case, I was actually also going to get paid to be in this program. So I would get paid to work before and after school in the preschool. So I came home one day and the teachers offered me this opportunity because they're like, "You have a talent." I'm like, "Oh, okay," but my mom's not gonna let me. So I got home that night and I talked to my mom about it. I explained it to her. I brought all the forms, I brought everything. I showed her videos because I'm like, I need to be as convincing as possible. And she was like, "Go for it." She's like, "If anything, this is gonna help you throughout your life, and it's gonna even like help you get like your first job like right out of high school." I was so shocked. So shocked that she said yes. But I'm very grateful she said yes because that program shaped my professional career. So going through this program, everything was great. I had a really great group of friends. They didn't understand my mom and the way she was bringing me up, but I was still cool while I was in school. Couldn't hang out with them outside of school. We were still a club, so we had to do events outside of school hours, and I could never go. The one time she allowed me to go was to a competition. We had to like do a demonstration of like lesson plans that we did and stuff, and we had a really good project. My mom even helped me with the project. But she wouldn't let me go to competition unless she went with us. So she traveled with us. I did the competition. We won, and we won to go to nationals. This was like our state one. So now we want to go to nationals, and we were so excited. But my mom said, no, she's not going to nationals. And my friends and my teachers were so upset. They're like, no, there's no need to go to nationals. She already won state. And mind you, this is not my own project. I'm in partner with someone else. And I remember this is one of like the key moments for me was my friend called me and she was like, so we're not going to nationals. And she was on speaker and I was like, no, like my mom's not going to let me, like I can't go. And she's like, is she listening to me right now? I was like, yeah, she is. So she just went off on my mom. She was like, you don't understand the great daughter you have. She's helped all of us in class. Like, she's amazing. How do you like deprive her from having this opportunity? Like, she went off on my mom. And, my mom took it, and my mom was just straight faced and she's like, I'm sorry, but she's not going. Um, so that was one of the key moments for him. Like, I'm not doing anything bad. Like, you already know the teachers, you know who I'm working with. We haven't done anything bad. Like, it was literally the most innocent program ever. We're dealing with preschool kids. Um, well, out of that program, I did get offered two full ride scholarships to universities. One is here local, and one is like maybe 2 hours away from where we were. But I had to turn them down because they were 4-year universities, and that wasn't like my mom didn't want to allow me to do a 4-year. But it was a full ride, and it was in early childhood, which is like my passion. She was like, "No, you're not going to do 4 years of school." And little did we know, I still did, but I'll explain why right now. So I had to say no to that. High school happened. Another key moment was that I couldn't even walk for my high school graduation. I was like one of the best students in high school, and the graduation was going to be held at a Christian university in their arena. So she was like, no, you're not walking. It's a Christian university. I'm like, but there's so many other things that we do and products that we buy that are also Christian owned, but we don't use them with that purpose. I'm like, so why can't I just go to my graduation? They're just renting out the arena to have a graduation.
Yeah.
Why can't I just do that? She's like, nope, you're not going to do it. And I was like, okay. And I lost a lot of my friends were upset at that too. I lost some friends. They like cut me out. They were like really mean to me that last week of high school. It hurt because I know it wasn't like their fault. It wasn't my fault either. It's just, you know, how you grew up, the community that you're a part of, and you're bound by all these added rules, right? Um, so I didn't go to high school graduation. So what preschool came through again. And mind you, all these people don't understand the whole picture. A lot of people don't understand the whole picture. So in their head, they thought that graduations were bad for Jehovah's Witnesses because they knew I didn't celebrate holidays or anything. So they're like, I guess graduations are bad for them too. So they did a little mini surprise graduation for me in the preschool, and all my principals were there. I just walked into the preschool, and my principals were there. All of my preschool students were there. All of like my friends were there. They all had like little paper caps, and they had a cap and gown for me. They did like a 10-second speech. I walked, and then I got my diploma and everything. Threw caps up in the air with like all my little preschool students. Honestly, I wouldn't take that back. And I'm like, why didn't you guys tell my mom? And they're like, well, we thought that she wasn't going to allow you to have a graduation. And I'm like, oh, and then my mom was upset that she did not get invited. But I'm like, man, like, mom, like, this is the reputation you've given yourself. Like, there was nothing bad, but whatever. Can't fight my mom. She's always right. So, after graduation, she really still wanted me to go for nursing. I didn't want to. So I went for radiology. So I did I went to a community college, so 2-year program. And I was pioneering during this time. I started pioneering, regular pioneering right after high school. I started a part-time job with municipal government, working with kids right after high school as well. And I started going full-time to school. So doing all my prereqs to go into radiology. So my first year of college, doing pioneering, part-time working, got through it. It was great. College is college. Just going to school, just, focusing a little bit more, I think. Second year, I was ready to already like start my radiology program, but it turns out that there was a wait list for it. So I couldn't do it. So now I had to start a whole other new program, which took another 2 years for me to finish. So
Oh, wow.
it was healthcare management. That was the major because I'm like, this is the closest I can get to anything healthcare. My mom wants me to do something healthcare. Um, so I got through that, still pioneering. My schedule was crazy. I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I would get ready to go to early morning service at 6 a.m. I would meet my friends to either do street work or letter writing. And then at 9 o'clock, I would go to school. I would get off school at 1 o'clock and then go to my part-time job. I would get off my part-time job at 6:30, 7 o'clock. I was doing cart witnessing or letters after work.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that was my life every single day. I think Fridays were my rest day, but then Saturday, it was like a full on 8-10 hour day of being out from like 6 a.m. again to about 6 p.m. And Sundays, if I still hadn't met my time, I would have to do it in the morning before the meeting or go preaching after the meeting. I did have Bible studies. It was intense. I remember that before that time, I think I was still in high school. I was giving one Bible study because I already knew that I had always planned to leave, but never knew when it was going to happen. I planned out my like leaving. I knew in high school I didn't want to be in it, but I still played the part because I had no other choice. I remember telling one of my Bible studies, I'm teaching you this because we have to, but it doesn't mean I believe all of it. And I'm not going to be here forever. Like, I don't want to stay in this forever. And she looked at me like with wide eyes and she's like, me neither. And it's crazy because now I see her on social media. She didn't stay in it. And now she sees me. I didn't stay in it. It took me a while because I had to obviously plan it out. But I just knew from the moment I was in high school that it wasn't for me. There was just too many things that I wasn't doing wrong, but were seen as wrong. And it just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
So I think that's, I guess, in essence, like how I was raised and brought up. And there's, I think, a lot more details that can be shared, and I don't mind sharing. Maybe it comes up in conversation as we go, but
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Okay, so how old were you when you were baptized? Were
Okay.
you were you
I was
younger? Were
10.
you Holy cow. Okay.
And let me tell you a
Oh
story
my
about that.
gosh.
Okay, I totally missed
Oh my
this.
gosh.
So I
Okay.
was 10 years old when I got baptized. I went to the elders and I told them, I'm ready to get baptized. Oh, no, no, no. I went to my mom. I was like, Mom, I want to get baptized. And she was like, No, you're not ready. And I'm like, Yeah, I am. I'm ready. I know what it means. I want to get baptized. And she's like, No, you're not. I'm not allowing you to. I was like, Okay, watch me. So I went to the elders. Mind you, I was 10. I
Mm.
went to the elders and I was like, my mom says that I can't get baptized, but I want to get baptized. I'm ready for the questions. Like, I already know everything. Like, I've been doing this since I was 3. Like, come on. Um, so the elders talked to my mom
Mm.
and they told her if she wants to get baptized, then you let her get baptized. It seems like she understands.
Wow.
So at 10 years old, I got baptized. And because of me, other people, like other kids around my age, ended up getting baptized with me,
Mm.
but they're out now as well.
Okay.
They
Well,
got
I
out
mean,
way before I did, way before I did. But yeah, I think I was the last one out of that group to get out.
okay. Okay.
So that's how that happened.
10. That's crazy.
hmm
You would think that they would respect the parent enough to be like, okay, well, if the parent thinks this isn't time, then maybe we should listen to the parent. But
Right. Yeah.
oh my gosh. Okay, so 10 years old. High school was when you started going, I don't want this. And was it because of the fact that you were just being kind of villainized for these innocent things you were doing, or what was it exactly?
I think it was more, and this, I like to put it as it felt like I always had to be doing everything to please like my mom and the organization. And nothing that I wanted to do was like viewed as right when it really wasn't wrong in the first place.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's what it was for me. I think it was like always having to hold up to a certain expectation because of who my mom was and how early I was brought onto it and how committed I was to it from like the beginning or from a very young age. But I think high school was where like, no, I don't think this is for me. Like, I'm not really developing a relationship with God myself. It seems like it's more of pleasing my mom and pleasing the people in the congregation.
Yep.
But I also knew I can't leave right now at
Yep.
15, 16, 17, 18 years old. I just can't. I don't have family. I
Yep.
can't afford to live on my own. I can't do any of that. So I have to like space it out and just play the game. And
Yep.
honestly, that's what I did. And to some people, it might seem like I was being fake the whole time. And maybe I was, but in other ways, I wasn't, you know?
Well, I mean, I think you bring up a really important thing to talk about is you are trapped in that organization when you
Mm-hmm.
are young, even if you're past 18,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not brought up in a way that you can be super independent. Like
Yeah.
they keep you very I don't even know, immature, I guess is kind of the right word. Like,
Yeah.
especially as a female,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you should stay with your parents until you are basically married.
Right.
You had, I guess, a slight advantage having a mom who wanted you to get further education, but that's very uncommon.
Yes.
Typically it's like high school, if even that. I was homeschooled through high school, so it was like I was cut off from the world at like
Mm-hmm.
15 years old, and you were 10 years old when you committed to this organization. So it's super important that like people understand it's not as simple as going like, I just don't believe this anymore. It's like you're trapped in it and you have to almost put on this show until you get all your ducks in a row to be able to find a way to really like get away from it, especially when you're younger.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
100%. One
that's
hundred
crazy.
percent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see like everyone else like going through the same motions. However, I think the way, and not that I did it right, but I think the way they went about it, it caused them to get into so much trouble because they were so young.
Hmm.
And like, coming back from that has been even harder for them. I kind of appreciate the fact that I played the game and that I
Hmm.
stayed because it shaped me and it got me ready to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Um, did it suck? Yeah, because I had to sit through a lot and do a lot that maybe I wasn't doing genuinely. But honestly, I'm thankful where I'm at now because of those steps that I took.
You probably felt more prepared when you finally
Hmm.
kind of pulled the trigger of getting out of
Yeah.
there,
And I think
which is good.
I was able to prove a lot of things that I felt when I was in high school. You're obviously still immature. You don't know like really about life, especially being in the organization. Um, but once I was like able to like grow and mature, and there was a point where I lived on my own for 2 years, man, did that open like my eyes and reassured my feelings from when I was younger. And I'm like, okay, I'm not wrong. And I would still pray to Jehovah and I'd be like, Jehovah, give me a sign. Am I right? Am I not? And I'll talk about it later, but man, he was giving me all the right signs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, girl, go move out on your own. Yeah, girl, leave,
Yeah.
because I still believe in Jehovah God. I still believe in
Hmm.
Jesus. But at that point, I think it was more of me having that relationship with him and being open to talk with him rather than having all these mediators.
Yep. Which I love that you brought that up because they claim, the only way to have a genuine relationship with Jehovah is through that organization. Like, as
Mm-hmm.
much as they claim, like, you need to make the truth your own and you need to study and dive into stuff, it's not really that way. Really,
Mm-hmm.
behind closed doors, you know that you have to go through the governing body and their
Mm-hmm.
literature and their
Mm-hmm.
articles to get that relationship. They don't want you just like opening the Bible or any form of Bible and reading it for yourself and praying to God about it. Like they need you to
Yeah.
have their articles next to it going along with it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
It's
they're
like
kind of
they
putting
they want
themselves.
it's like they want to do all the critical thinking for you, so they
Yeah.
keep you dumb so you don't do any critical thinking for yourself.
Yes,
So
100%.
yeah, that's why like half of the people that, well, not, I don't want to say half of the people, but some of the people that leave, man, they struggle when they leave because they've never done critical thinking for themselves. You
Yeah.
know, it sucks. It's an ugly system.
It is. It is. I mean, it just shows the amount of brainwashing, and it's almost like your brain doesn't know how to function without being
Hmm.
told and
Hmm.
having everything laid out for you. It's
Yeah.
insane. Okay. So you still like playing the game of being a Jehovah's Witness, and were you like pioneering and stuff when you were out on your own for those 2 years?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after college, I did end up graduating 2019, December of 2019. And then I was still living with my mom. Um, then when I was 19, talking about dating now, um, during like those college years, I would talk to guys from Carnation, and I had a phone by then. I didn't have a phone until I was 18, by the way, until I could afford my own phone.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, and then my first phone wasn't even a smartphone. It was like one of those knockoff BlackBerry phones from back in the day. No internet. I could only text and call. But anyways, I started talking to guys from the congregation, outside of the congregation. Nothing ever was serious. It was more just talking, flirting, and that was it. I don't think I was really attracted to any of the guys that I talked to. It was more just like, having fun. That's it. But I always had to keep it a secret because I wasn't even allowed to go out. I was bound to my house the whole time. I
Mm.
couldn't go out to eat with my friends. I could only go preaching. That's the only time you can be with your friends, is if you go preaching or at the meeting. Otherwise, my mom always had to be with me. So
Okay.
that was kind of awkward.
Yeah.
So I knew that I really couldn't date. I will say there was one guy, had to have been, had it been around that time. I think with him, he was like, I guess I could say he was kind of like my first like love.
Mhm.
Because I would actually, like, if my mom was working, I would like drive off and go meet him, and we would see each other and stuff. Ended up happening that he was also talking to another girl, and he ended up marrying the other girl, but it was nothing ever serious with me.
Yeah.
But dating wasn't really like my priority. There was guys that were interested then, but I really didn't have not that I didn't have an interest, more like it's going to be so hard to date living under my roof, under my mom's roof. I don't want to go through that. And I was also at a point where with my mom, she was always right. I would never battle her for anything. I would stay quiet. I just didn't want conflict. So whatever she said, I did. If she said she was right, all right, she's right. I'm gonna just stay quiet type deal. But it was at that point where I was like, okay, I can't really date. So at the age of 23, or around COVID, so like 2020, 2021, I started dating officially a ministerial servant from that lived maybe an hour away from where we lived.
Okay.
And it was kind of like a long distance relationship, but he would come into town once in a while. And it was official. My mom knew, his family knew. Some people were excited about it, others won't. Elders had great things to say about him. And I was like, okay, I guess. I honestly was just looking for an escape to not be under my mom's roof at that point.
Yeah.
Was I really attracted to the guy? Not really. But it was more of an escape. But I was like, man, like this is kind of dumb too. But I went with it. Well, we ended up messing around because we saw each other once. And, we had a little make out session, just, to be just straight up.
Yeah.
And he got very guilty, apparently. And he went to his elders and told his elders. Mind you, I'm a pioneer. He's a pioneer and a ministerial servant. So it caught wind to my elders, and my elders sat me down. They talked to me, the whole judicial committee, what happened. Did you guys have full on sex? What did you touch? What didn't you touch? Did you feel anything?
Mm-mm.
All of that. When, where, how, what time? Was it planned? All
Yeah.
of this stuff. You know how it goes.
All the questions that are
Um,
so intrusive.
right?
Yes.
So, I only ended up getting reproved privately.
Okay.
And he got full on disfellowshipped.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. We did end up breaking
Intense.
up right before it all happened. So um, after we had our makeout sesh or whatever, he just became really weird.
Mm.
So I was just like, oh, this is weird. So I'm just like, I'm breaking up with you. And I did. I broke up with him at the Kingdom Hall. Um, and after that, everything just came up and I got reproved privately. So really all they had to announce was that I was no longer a regular pioneer.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also right before COVID hit.
Okay.
So it got announced maybe a week or two before,
Mm-hmm.
and then COVID hit and everything was virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And people didn't really think much of it because they knew I was in school or I had just graduated. They knew I had just gotten a full-time job. And when people asked me, which not a lot of people did, they were like, "Oh, like, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, just a change of circumstances. Just a change of circumstances, you know, but you plan on going back?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how I feel." And I was like, "Oh my God, like, I don't want to go back to being a regular pioneer because it's so crazy." But the whole pandemic, it was about a year from 2020 to 2021. I was reproved privately.
Okay.
um really couldn't notice because everything was virtual. um I was just stuck at home, obviously, like everyone else. My only escape was to go for runs. There was like a local park that was like really popular, and I would just go on like 3 5 mile runs with the hike included, and that was like my release. And my
Mm-hmm.
mom would allow me to do that, so I'm very thankful she allowed me to do that. But I would just go out in my car and I would just run, and just like there was times where I was just even crying because I'm like, man, this is a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
After a year, they were like, okay, you're no, this is your opportunity. You're no longer reproved. And then a week later, they hand me the application to be a regular pioneer again.
Oh my gosh. Oh, no, no pressure or anything.
No pressure. But your mom's a regular pioneer. She's
Mm-hmm.
great. And you're an example in the congregation, regardless of what you did. So you should still be a regular pioneer. And mind you, I was very lively. I loved everyone. I love making friends. I love the little kids. I would have the little kids helping me clean the Kingdom Hall. I would be training them how to be like husbands and wives at the Kingdom Hall.
Yeah.
I really loved my congregation. I loved encouraging people.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk to anyone from like my congregation, if ever, right, they'll say that I was maybe the one who encouraged them to become regular pioneers themselves, to start a Bible study, to go preaching, to be more hospitable, because that's just who I am naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think a part of me was just that was my escape to just feel okay and feel good and play the game, right? So I did end up filling out the application again because there was a lot of pressure.
Oh my.
So I know. So right after COVID, there is Paulina the Pioneer again. And again, my 6 a.m. mornings, waking up at 4:30, going to work, preaching, going to work, preaching, going to work. And I was still living under my mom's roof. So she went preaching, I had to go preaching with her.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then if I didn't go out preaching, oh my God, I would hear from my mom all day that I didn't love Jehovah and that he wasn't a priority for me anymore. Just the guilt tripping. That's all it was. During that time, I reconnected with one of my friends from high school who um started studying with Jehovah's Witnesses and became a Jehovah's Witness
Oh wow.
and started pioneering.
Okay.
So me and her became best friends. She was from the English congregation. I was still with the Spanish, and we just became like the best of friends. I love her so much to this day. I wish I could talk to her. I wish we can still have a relationship because she was like my ride or die. She ended up getting married. Her husband's a ministerial servant. I think they're both still serving. Um, but me and her became very close, and I'm getting to the point where I moved out. My mom didn't like her though. My mom always would judge her. She would judge all of my friends, honestly.
Yeah.
In that congregation. She didn't like any of my friends. However, all of my friends were super cool. We would go preaching together. It was, they all had their little things. Everyone has their little thing they have to work on, but they're all great people and I loved them. And as long as I was seen preaching with them, my mom was okay with it. Other than that, I would get judged and she would just tell me to go home and I had to go home. So it got to the point where me and my friend, we became very close and we wanted to start doing like girl things together, like going out to dinner and just coming over type deal. And my mom wouldn't allow it. Well, it got to a point, I think I was like 23. I was like, you know what? This needs to stop. Like, I'm doing everything right. I'm helping my mom at home. I'm being financially responsible. I'm a good pioneer. I'm a good Jehovah Witness. I'm an example in the congregation. Why can I not hang out with my friends or do something like a girls' trip? So I just went out of my way and planned a whole girls' trip to Disneyland, just me and her. Paid for it, did everything. And I'm like, Mom, I'm going to Disneyland with so and so. And she's like, No, you're not. Not living under my roof, you're not. And mind you, before this, I had been asking like Jehovah for a sign, like, Jehovah, like, man, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm doing everything right. Why can't I, like, just have these little moments of rest, of leisure? You say that rest is important. And, like, why? Like, I don't understand. So I was like, when she said not living under my roof, I was like, this is my opportunity. I was like, maybe this is a sign. So I told my friend, I was like, hey, do you mind if we postpone the trip? I need to move out before we go on this trip. Like, I need to move out. And financially, I'm set to where I can move out. Um, so she was like, yeah, like let's postpone it. You have my full support. All of my friends were super supportive. So I talked to my mom and I told her I was going to move out. And my mom couldn't believe it. She was like, what? She's like, did you find someone? I'm like, no, I just want to move out to be independent. And nothing's going to change. I'm still going to go to the meetings. I'm not going to stop pioneering. But if I can't go on this trip with my other pioneer friend that I've known for like 10 years, while I'm still doing everything in this home to help you, to help myself, to help others in the congregation, I don't understand why I can't go. I'm willing to stay at home with you, but you need to start allowing me to do things. She's like, no. So I was like, okay. So I started apartment hunting. I found an apartment and I moved out. She did not believe it at first, but I told her maybe 2 weeks prior to the move-in date. I'm like, hey, in 2 weeks, all my friends are coming over. They're going to help me move. She was like, no, they're not. Cancel on them. I'm going to help you move. I was like, oh, okay. And she sure did. She helped me move into my apartment. She liked my apartment. She couldn't believe the judgment I had for like apartment shopping. She's like, oh, this place is nice. It's actually clean. It has security. Yeah. She's like, oh, okay. So I'm like, yeah. Anyways, she ended up loving my apartment, living on my own. I did that for 2 years. It was the best 2 years, honestly, of my life. I think it shaped me, improved a lot of things that I had thought before, that I had developed beforehand. I still remained a pioneer. I still went to all of the meetings and everything. And mind you, I was like a pioneer. Like me and my mom went to like an international convention together.
Okay.
Like we were exemplary. Like I was given keys to the Kingdom Hall. The elders had given me all of the passwords to like start the audio and stuff in the congregation because I was like always first to get to the Kingdom Hall. So they're like, Paulina, you get there before us. Like, can you help us with this? And I was like, yeah, I'll help you guys. So I had keys, I had passwords, I knew how to start the audio and video, I knew how to turn on the microphones. So that's literally what I would do when I would get to the Kingdom Hall every single meeting.
Wow.
Paulina, we need more people to go to 6 a.m. service. Can you like help us? Sure can. Let me text all these people and you guys are gonna have a big crowd. And then I was the one who always took the pictures of the big crowd. Oh, Paulina, like take a picture. And I'm like, okay, I'll take a picture. So I would take pictures every single Saturday morning of everyone that went out preaching. It was crazy. Like it was a whole, and this is all happening those 2 years, and I'm just playing the part. I'm just like, I have to, but you know, and I would keep asking like Jehovah, how do I leave? Like I'm about to lose everything I've ever known. The only family I have is my mom. Like how can I like let that go? And like me and my mom, we were actually in a really good place now. We were I took her to Disneyland, something she would never have done living like me and her living under the same roof. You know, I took her to Disneyland. I took her to like basketball games and we had like a blast. It was like the best 2 years, I think, of our relationship. Maybe at first it was a bit rocky because she totally was against me moving out, but it was really good. And then I was like, give me another sign. Like, because I don't want to be here like I'm being a fake. I love my friends. Like, I'm going to miss them, but I'm being a fake.
Yeah.
Um, so then my now husband came around. I don't know if you want to like maybe ask something else because I can talk.
No, I think I just want to like talk about a little bit about the outward appearance of everything you were doing. You are, like you said, you were exemplary. You were the center of your congregation. You were somebody that someone like myself, when I was in the organization, who always felt like I wasn't doing enough, would have looked at as like, oh my gosh, this is like the most spiritual
Mm-hmm.
person I know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's extremely important that you're telling this because in your mind, you were trying to find your out. You knew you were going to lose everything.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't believe this organization. Again, you still had a relationship with Jehovah and you were still a spiritual person, but you knew something was off with this organization and everything. I think it's good to know that because we all still have family in this organization and you
Mm-hmm.
just never know what is going through their mind or if they're awake. Like they could be looking like they're doing everything and that there's no hope for them to ever wake up, but they could be fully awake just trying to find their way out. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very hopeful for people watching this to know that you just never know. Your family in there could be just trying to figure out, or your best friend or
Yeah.
somebody you love could be just trying to figure out their way out because, again, it's not as simple as going, I just don't believe this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just
It's
do that.
not.
It's
No,
not that easy.
it's
Okay,
not.
so you met your husband. Was he a Jehovah's Witness? Was he okay? All right, so let's go to
No.
there. Tell us that part of the story.
So 2016. So now I'm going back.
Okay.
When I started working for municipal government and after school programs, I met my husband. We were coworkers, and I thought he was the most adorable man. I mean, he was a kid. We were only 19, but I was like, man, he's cute. So, and he was new. I was already there. He had just joined the team, and we were at a conference. We all got sent to a conference, and this was for work. And I honestly just approached him. And I was like, hey, are you new here? He was like, yeah, I'm new, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, do you know what workshops you're going to go to? And he's like, no. I was like, oh, you want to go to workshops together? So that whole day we spent together going to these workshops for work. And we would pay. We would both pay to know what we talked about because we both had like a huge impact on each other. Little did we know, we didn't know this. And from that point, I was like, man, if I ever date someone who's not JW, it's going, and I'm going to say his name because he won't mind. I'm like, it's going to be Jacob Ponce. Like, it has to be Jacob Ponce. And I don't ask me why. I don't know. We don't remember what we talked about, but there was just something there at the
Yeah.
time. Could have never happened. Could have never happened for me. He was in a relationship. We were literally from that point. We were just high and by coworkers, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Well, after that, we lost touch. Don't know what happened. I kept my career going. I don't know what he was doing. Well, he was doing other things, but I obviously didn't know.
Yeah.
7 years passed, 8 years passed, and I'm also very known at work. I was like putting this event together for all of the employees of the organization. You know, I'm loud and lively and life of the party and like, woo, you know, I had microphone in hand. I was dancing, doing my thing. And I guess all of a sudden he saw me there. Little did I know he was still working with that organization.
Yeah.
And he didn't approach me. He was too shy. He was not brave. But he ended up reaching out through Facebook. And then the rest is history. We've been inseparable ever since October of 2023.
Okay.
But yeah, so once he came into my life, when those conversations started that October, I was like, oh my God, Like, no, like, I just need to start, like, I just need to ignore him. And I'd be like, oh my God, Jehovah, like, help me. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, is this that other sign that I asked you for? I'm like, but I don't really know him 100%. I just know that I've always wanted to, like, date him and, like, marry him. But I don't know. Like, Jehovah, like, let me know. Um, so I would try to ignore his messages, but the conversation was just so good. It wasn't dumb. You know, we're like 24, 20. How old am I now? Yeah, we were like 25, 26. And the conversations were really good. They were deep. They had foundation. We ended up, you know, we were just texting and we ended up meeting up in person, I think that November or December of that same year. And it was literally a 3-hour conversation, literally just a conversation, just recapping on the last 8 years of our life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he learned that I was a Jehovah's Witness. And he was like, dude, like, are you serious? He's like, I've always wanted to meet a Jehovah's Witness. And I'm like, why? Mind you, I didn't tell him back in 2016 I was.
Yeah.
He's like, I like studying like theology and watching all these theology videos and like learn about like different cults and like different like religions. He's like, and Jehovah's Witnesses are one of the ones that stand out to me. And then he starts telling me all these things, and I'm like, oh, he has done his research. So I'm just like, oh, okay. So after that, I was like, he's not gonna want to meet up again. Like this was such just a friendly conversation, and that's all it was. There was no flirting, no nothing.
Mm.
And we kept talking, kept texting each other, and he's like, oh, let's meet up again. The second time, he was like, let me steal a kiss from you. So he stole a kiss from me. And then after that, we went on a date. We went to a basketball game. And I was like, oh, okay, like, Jehovah, you better help me because it's either I'm fully in or I'm fully out. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to have a serious conversation with him because I don't know where this is going. And I really am not here to mess around or play around.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I am looking to leave. So could this be my sign to leave? But then he's not guaranteed. But even if he's not guaranteed, I'll still leave, you know?
Yeah.
So after that basketball game, he was dropping me off, walked me to my apartment, and I was like, hey, we need to have a very serious conversation. And he was like, okay. I was like, you obviously know I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I technically shouldn't even be like going out with you. I shouldn't even be talking to you. I shouldn't be doing anything that has to do with you because of X, Y, and Z. And you know. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, however, I have been looking to leave this religion for years. I'm like, and I've been asking God for every single sign in the world to allow me to leave or to give me the guts or like the bravery to leave or the courage to leave. I was like, but I haven't found it. But ever since like talking and being with you, something in me has mustered up and I'm like ready to do it. But I don't want to force you into anything and don't feel forced. But if this is serious to you, I need you to be serious 100%. At least now. You can change your mind tomorrow if you want. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. I'm like, but this is everything that I'm going to go through if I get with you. I'm going to lose my mom. I'm going to lose my friends. It's going to be traumatic. I will have no one to go to other than you at this point. There's going to be a lot of tears. There's going to be a lot of sides of me you've never seen. So if you're ready for that, even just if you want to be my friend going through it, I'm okay with that. If you're ready for that, great. And if not, it's okay. You know, I'm okay saying bye. I was like, you don't have to answer me today. Sleep on it and we'll talk later. Okay. That's literally all I got. Like, okay. I felt so bad. I was like, I totally lost him. He's out. I'm like, he's out. And next morning, he was like, hey, do you want to go for dinner? And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, this could either be very good or it could be very bad. So we went to dinner, and in that dinner, he was like, I'm all in. And I was like, are you sure? He was like, yeah, I'm all in. He's like, I honestly don't know where this is going to go. He's like, I just know. He's like that. He's like, you're a great woman. You're super successful. You carry yourself very well. You're very confident. You obviously are spiritual. You love God. And it sucks that you have to go through this, but I don't want you to go through it alone. I don't know what's going to be of us, but I'm here for you. And I was like, okay. So this was like December. Um, oh geez. We're getting really close to the juicy parts. So this was December. He actually introduced me to his family Christmas Day, I believe, Christmas Day of that year. But then the night before Christmas Eve, I had actually, even though, we're JWs, we still take holidays as an advantage to get together and it still feels like you're celebrating.
Yeah.
My friends always did like a Friendsgiving, or they did like just a get together on like Christmas Eve. Well, I think it was Friendsgiving that this happened. Friendsgiving, we met at one of my friend's house, a whole thing, dinner, dance, everything. And usually I'm the one who gets there super early and leaves super late because I enjoyed my drinking and I enjoyed dancing and I love eating and I love all the things social. So, but that night I left early. I got there late. I left early and I didn't get as buzzed as I usually do. So my friends were starting to question what was up with me.
Oh.
So I was like, and I honestly was planning not to leave until March of 2024 because I was going to be in one of my best friend's wedding.
Okay.
And that best friend from that wedding also worked under me.
Okay.
So I was like, no, but if I leave, it's not going to be till March because I still have this wedding and I kind of feel bad, blah, blah. But then, November, December, all of my friends started to question me. I was like, I need to do something now because they all have my location too. They're going to start stalking me. They might show up in my apartment out of nowhere because that's just what we did as friends. And they're going to end up finding out. And I don't want them to find out like that. I want them to find out because it's coming from me.
Yeah.
So, I talked to my elders. I was like, hey, I need to talk with you guys. This was like December. And I talked to Jacob, and I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm like, I'd rather save my friend from the wedding, that pain too of having to see me on her wedding pictures and me no longer being in her life after. Like,
Yeah.
how ugly would that be? Like, and I'm looking at it from their perspective as well.
Yeah.
There's two sides to it, and I don't think you fully understand until you've lived both sides of it.
Yep.
So, talk to my elders. And I was nervous to talk to my elders, but at the same time, I felt ready. I feel like if I would have done it before, I would have like crashed out and I would have cried during the whole meeting. But I actually kept it together and I was very surprised with my own self. I went in there and I told them that I had been wanting to talk to them because I no longer wanted to be part of the organization. That it just felt like I really couldn't develop a relationship with Jehovah because it was always about pleasing people and being held to a certain expectation. And I just didn't feel like I was being genuine. And then I didn't want to be there. And I told him, I was like, I actually just met someone too. And, been going out with this person for like 2 months now. And, I know I can't be with them if I'm still a part of this organization. He's not guaranteed to be with me forever. I'm prepared to lose him tomorrow. I'm like, but I also still don't want to be part of this organization. And they were shocked because just the weekend before I was out preaching with them like nothing.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, totally caught him off guard.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
I know I did. So after that meeting, they're like, okay, well, we'll have another meeting because they obviously now needed to talk with the whole group of elders. That week that I had to wait for the next meeting, some of the elders, because I was close to all my elders too. Like, I just get close to everybody. I'm just cool with everybody. And they were like, Paulina, like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you for asking. And that's how I would keep it. Paulina, are you okay? Yeah, I'm great. Thank you for asking. At the meeting, I would still do my normal thing. Paulina, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. And then the meeting came. It was a Thursday night. It was my judicial committee. It was three elders that I wasn't the closest to, and honestly, I appreciate that I wasn't the closest to them because I think that if I would have had the other ones, I maybe would have bended.
Yeah.
Um, but these three elders, they weren't mean at all. They were nice. None. My elders in that congregation are actually really cool. I have no complaints about my body of elders that I had. Um, but they still have to ask the questions that everyone asks. Or that they have to ask. So at first they wanted understanding as to why I wanted to leave, but then they were so glued to the part of I've met someone and I've been dating someone. They're like, well, have you done anything with that someone? I'm like, no. I'm like, I still abide by morals and like scripture, like no sex before marriage. At least that was just me. I'm like, I don't plan on having sex before marriage if that's what you're asking. Have I kissed the guy? Yeah, I've kissed him. Have I gone beyond kissing? No. We honestly are just really great friends and we're in a relationship and that's all it is. There's nothing more to it. Now, if you wanted to call that, kissing sexual misconduct or like hugging or go ahead, go for it. I'm like, but we haven't done anything. We really haven't. I would tell you, I have nothing to lose now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just don't want to be here. I hate being a two-face. Like, I've been putting up an act this whole time, and I know I'm going to lose my mom. I know I'm going to lose my friends. I know I'm going to lose you guys as my friends too. But I'm just, it's eating me alive.
Yeah.
And their eyes were like shocked. So they told me to leave the room. I left the room. I was fine. And then they told me to go back in. And they're like, okay, are you sure of what you're doing? I'm like, yeah. No, but are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Like, I know the consequences of this. It sucks. I don't like it either. I'm like, but I just can't continue living like this. I just can't. And they're like, okay, and you sure you haven't done anything? No. But have you thought about your mom? Yes, a lot. And have you thought about all those kids that look up to you? Yes, I have. And it sucks and it hurts me because now I have all those memories in my phone too. I love those kids. I love my mom. I love the congregation. I love the people. Just the added rules is just what doesn't make sense to me. And they're like, okay. They told me to leave the room again. I left the room. I go back in. Paulina, but are you sure? Like, are you sure? And I'm just like, oh my God, stop.
I
Like,
don't know how to
stop.
say this. Yes, I
Yes,
understand.
I understand. I get it. You're not talking to a 10-year-old.
You've been
Um,
planning this for years. You knew what was going to
yeah.
happen.
And I did tell him that. I was like, from like, I think high school on this whole time, I have felt this way, but it has not been easy to express it because I know nothing else.
Yeah.
And, so I left the room again. When I came in, they said they had prayed about it and whatnot, and that they've decided that I'm going to be disfellowshipped. And I was like, thank God. Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And they're like, do you have any questions or any last remarks or anything? And I'm like, no. They're like, well, we want to read you like a couple of scriptures. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't remember the scriptures.
Yeah.
I do remember one. I don't even know what verse it is, but it says that how like God never forgets like everything like you've done. Like I don't remember which scripture it is. And they were like, just remember that, Jehovah will never forget everything you did do for him. And, whenever you want to come back. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm aware. Thank you so much. They're like, do you mind if we pray? I'm like, go ahead, you can pray. So I'm just like praying and they're like, okay, you can leave now. I was like, all right. They're like, we're gonna announce it next week on Wednesday. And I was like, okay. So they left me with a week to tell my mom and two of my close friends. That was hard.
Yeah.
That was really hard. My mom was in Mexico this whole time.
Okay.
Um and I was supposed to pick her up from the airport that Saturday. That was the only opportunity I was going to have to tell her. So I picked her up from the airport that Saturday. She was so happy, like, oh my God, Mexico was so much fun, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm about to ruin her mood. And I just told her I had something very serious to tell her. And she thought I was joking at first. And I was like, no, it's serious. And then I told her I'm going to be disfellowshipped because it still was disfellowshipped when I left. Um, and she was like, what happened? And I wasn't prepared to tell her that I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. So I just gave the Jacob story that I had met someone and, just I wanted to be with that someone. And I just wasn't prepared to tell my mom the truth. I just wasn't. Because I know I was going to break her.
Yeah.
She already was broken, so I was just gonna break her more. And she's like, well, what am I supposed to do now? Like what am I'm like, Mom, you already did everything you had to do as a mom, and you've been an amazing mom. Like, it's fine. This is like my adult decision. I'm still here. I'm your daughter. If you need me, you call me. If I need you, I will call you. But I'm still here. I'm still Paulina. I'm still your daughter. Nothing's happening. You know where I live, you know my phone number, just let me know. So dropped her off, gave her one last hug. We were both in tears. And that was the last time I saw my mom, January of 2024.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So that was hard. It's been hard. I think that's maybe the one that has hurt me most, because even though my and my mom relationship was very rocky throughout the years, I really appreciated how she raised me and who I am today because of her.
Yeah.
And I can also understand why she raised me the way she did, because of everything she had to endure as a child, as a teenager, and even as an adult with my dad. There's domestic violence, drugs, there's abandonment from her own parents, one of her parents died when she was 5. So she has gone through a lot herself, but because of all of that, she was able to raise me, and was there some things that I didn't fully agree with 100%, but man, like, she did a great job. She really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Um, and aside from telling her, I had to tell my best friend, who I also knew in high school, and man, telling her was hard
Yeah.
because I was really close to her. We shared a lot together in the 3-4 years that we were really, really, really close. I invited her over for breakfast. She didn't even finish her breakfast. She just walked out, deleted me off everything right away. My other set of friends, they're also a couple. They were a lot more understanding, but I also didn't give them the real reason.
Yeah.
My friends, I didn't give them any reason. My mom, I told her it was Jacob. And they didn't understand. And if they get to see this, like, I hope they understand, or, you know, they see it. Because I do miss them. If there's any part of my life that I miss from being a Jehovah's Witness, was my social life.
Yeah.
It was my social life. I had a really great social life. I had great friends that were down to, like, go, like, to the club or go drinking, or hey, let's have a game night, or hey, everyone come over. Like, I would live in like a 300-foot studio, and everyone would come over to my 300-foot studio. We would just have to move furniture and have a little dance floor, and it was great. Like, I just loved that component of my life.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that I miss, it's that. It's knowing that I have friends that I can call, because now I have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And I love my husband. My husband is my, like, best friend. But, you do miss the friends that you grew up with and that you were
Yeah.
able to establish those relationships with.
Yeah. And I feel like in that organization, it's kind of easier to have friendships just because it's like people are more willing to just, I mean, obviously it's your only place to make friends. So that's like everyone kind of clings onto that a lot more. It's, I think, harder in the real world, I think, to find those people you connect with because it's like a built-in friendship system in the organization. So that makes
Yes.
sense.
Yeah, because you have that common ground. Oh, you're a Jehovah's Witness. What congregation are you from?
Yeah.
And when did you like start studying? And like
Mhm.
there's always like a conversation and then it just builds up from there, right? Because you're
Yeah.
it's just like naturally there. Versus when you're out, it's like, I'm like this.
Yeah.
Even like with my husband's family, very awkward
Yeah.
because I've never been, and not that I've never had friends that are outside, but it's just awkward. Like people just talk about different things or they repeat some conversations, and I'm like, oh, like I need something more deep. I
Yeah.
need, because that's how we grew up. That's
Yeah.
all we know. We have very deep conversations. We talk about very personal things very early on,
Hmm.
and a lot of times that either makes for a great friendship or a terrible friendship,
Yeah.
even in the organization.
Yeah.
It kind of plays against you sometimes. But for me, for the most part, because of that foundation in the organization, I had really, really, really good friends.
Yeah.
And now I'm honestly like struggling to
Yeah.
have like genuine friendships. Because it sucks to say it, but I'll be bored sometimes of the conversations.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm so bored. I need to leave. Like, take me out of here. I can't do it. I just
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah, it's hard. We've been out for like since, mid 2023, so going on 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met one girl who has become like my best friend, which it's funny because I didn't have a lot of friends in the organization. I was kind of the opposite. I always kept my like distance from people because I just felt
Mm-hmm.
like I wasn't a good enough witness, so conversations were always uncomfortable for me where they'd be like, "Oh, did you see this, broadcast?" And I'd be like, "No, I
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
watched that." No, I haven't watched that one actually, but please do tell me. But it's funny because the girl I have become very, very close with, she grew up in kind of a cult, and we have that common ground, and that's how we like kind
Mm-hmm.
of bonded was discussing our upbringings and like the rules and stuff we had, and now we get
Mm-hmm.
to have deep conversations on like everything in life. So it's hard. I understand that, and I
Mm-hmm.
hope you've been out for what now, couple years.
2 years
So
now. Mm-hmm.
I hope that you will eventually find those friendships you're looking for and needing, but I know it's hard. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people also will say that, like, I don't know how to make friends outside of this. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we all have kind of some walls up as well when we leave, just because it hurts so bad to leave and lose our entire social system. I think it's harder for us to kind of put ourselves out there again to find people to be friends and have in our lives.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
yeah. So obviously, you lost everything, which is an unfortunate reality of this organization, and choosing to leave. Has there been anybody that from your past that you've been able to keep in touch with at all, or has it been just like everything's gone?
Yeah, so actually, one of my childhood best friends, I've known her since she was in the belly. Her parents and my mom started studying with Jehovah's Witnesses at the same time.
Okay.
And she got disfellowshipped maybe a year and a half before I did.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got disfellowshipped, I texted her right away. So we've been like a good support system for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gone through a lot. Like she got the ugly side of
Okay.
leaving.
Yeah.
So between me, my husband, my husband's family, we've all helped her get back on her feet. And now she's doing very, very good. So I'm like very proud of her. Like she just got her own place by herself. And yeah, she's doing great. So me and her are very close. I've reconnected too with a lot of friends from high school.
Good.
My high school besties. Um, my wedding, a lot of people from high school went, a lot of people from work that have obviously come to know the story, and a lot of my preschool students and kids that I've
Oh,
worked with along the years were my side of the family because I had no one from my family there.
yeah.
So that was like my side of the family that was there, and obviously his side. I only had one aunt show up to the wedding. She's never been a Jehovah's Witness, but I've never been close to her either. So I'm very happy that she showed up. The family that isn't Jehovah's Witnesses, not really happy with the outcome of how all this has panned out.
Yeah.
I see my mom a little bit differently. I don't think my mom cares because my mom is very like set in her ways.
Yeah.
And as long as she's pleasing Jehovah, she is good. But, I've never been close to the family, so that even feels weird. But yeah, that's basically who I've reconnected with. Um, it's still weird because it still feels like the beginning phases of like reconnecting with people. And you have to catch up on 10 plus years of not seeing someone and all of a sudden you come back into their life. So I think it's like awkward on both ends. Like, okay, so what do we talk about? Like high school conversations are so different than, hey, we're both married now
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah.
Um, but they've all been like super supportive. I've obviously shared the story with them. A lot of them have said sorry, like, because they didn't know the extent this all went to. And some of them, they were mean to me. They were mean to my mom, but I'm happy that I've been able to tell them my story and explain to them, how the organization worked and what I had to go through in order to be where I'm at today. And it's been very healing. I wouldn't have been doing this 2 years ago either.
Yeah.
I think that now I'm very like open to talking about it. I don't get as emotional as I used to. I
Yeah.
would have already had like makeup off by now.
Yes.
Um,
It takes
but
time. It
yeah,
takes time for sure for
it
that.
really does. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to just rewind a tiny bit. I like to ask everybody, what were those like waking up moments for you? So you were obviously very young when you started seeing you didn't want to be a part of this. Was
Mhm.
there like very specific things that it was, or was it just the entire dynamic of the organization that kind of is kind of what woke you up, I guess, to say?
I think it's a combination of both.
Okay.
I think one of the things that really stuck out was the moment, it was really just the moments where my mom would say it was wrong when there was really nothing wrong about it.
Okay.
Common sense wise in my head,
Yeah.
and still to this day, it just, a lot of it just, I'm like, no, that was right. That wasn't wrong. Another thing that was really pivotal was one of my friends when I was like 14, 15. I actually snitched on her and I felt really bad. She had told me that she had done something and that it was obviously a sin. Um, and she told me not to say anything, but you know how you're trained.
Yep.
You have to speak up or else you're also, part of at fault and you
Yep.
also get in trouble.
Yep.
So I didn't know how to like fess up about it. So I ended up telling my mom.
Okay.
And my mom actually took it very calmly, which I was surprised. Um, but we were also like renting a studio from my friend's parents, so we were also like neighbors. So it was
Okay.
kind of like a very awkward situation.
Yeah.
So I knew things and I ended up telling my mom about it, and mom was like, well, you know what the right thing is to do. And I'm just like, oh, like I don't want to. This is like my best friend. So sure enough, next morning I go and knock at their door and I'm like, either you speak up or I'm going to speak for you tomorrow at the meeting. If I don't see you talk to the elders by the end of the meeting, I'm going to tell them myself what's up. But it felt so wrong.
Yeah.
And it gets worse. Like, I tell the elders, what happens, happens. She gets this fellowship, but then her parents kick her out. She's
Oh.
only 15. And my mom didn't agree with that either. I didn't agree with it because there is a section in the one of the books, I don't remember what it's called right now, where it says if they are underage, they still live with you. You don't kick them out,
Yeah.
right? But her parents still did. And I just felt so bad, and that's what made her life, honestly, I'm looking outside, looking in, her life seemed miserable. And
Yeah.
when she tried to come back, she already looked so like hurt. And I'm like, oh my God, like if I wouldn't have said anything, like she would still be at home.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is so ugly. Like, I don't like it. And I don't know, I think that was a pivotal moment. But then after that, everything else that kept on happening, like not being able to like walk for graduation, not being
Yeah.
able to do not being able to like hang out with like my friends that were in the organization just because you don't want me to. Um, I tell people sometimes, I think I still would have left, but I like to say that if my mom wouldn't have been so strict
Mm-hmm.
and would have limited me so much, I think I would still be there.
Okay.
Because because I think a lot of like my social needs would have been fed.
Yeah.
And I think I would have still had like the community that I wanted,
Yeah.
but still knowing in my head that some of it isn't right. But
Mm-hmm.
because, I had that, I was fine.
Yeah.
But because I was restricted so much, in a way, I also say thank you because it allowed me to see it a lot more.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There was a lot of
There's
different things.
there's a
That
lot
makes
of different
sense.
things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I'm kind of curious if, since you've left, it sounds like your husband has done a lot of research. Like you said, he had
Mm.
interest in the organization. And do you view it as a cult or like just a high control religion or just everyone's so different. There are still people I come across. They're like, oh, I don't like to call it a cult. I don't like to call it that. But do you have an opinion on that in one direction or the other?
Okay. I saw this question coming. Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Um, it's funny because we talk about this a lot at home.
Okay. Okay.
And I will say, you asked me 2 years ago, I would have said no. You
Okay.
asked me today, and maybe this is the first time I'll ever admit it. I haven't even told my husband this,
Mm-hmm.
but after all the research that I've done,
Mm-hmm.
that we've done together, I'm like, heck yeah, it's a cult.
Okay.
It fits
Yeah,
the bike model perfectly.
it does. It
Like,
does.
so much is controlled, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not easy to to leave, and then to live after you leave.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
And even being in it, like now I see like, because I still like follow some people on like social media or like on WhatsApp and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I was in there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
This is the
Okay.
first time the world is hearing me admit it. It
On
definitely,
record.
on record, it definitely is. Call
Yeah.
me an apostate if you want, but I love everybody in there.
Yeah.
It's just how they like to say about the people that are out. We
Yeah.
love them.
Mm-hmm.
We totally love them. We just don't like their actions. Well, right back to you.
Yep.
Like I freaking love everybody in there, but I don't agree with everything you believe.
Yep.
But
And
if I'm still
especially their
willing to,
treatment of people who have
yeah,
been kicked out or expelled or whatever you want to call it. But yeah.
yeah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if I'm still willing to have a relationship with you,
Mm-hmm.
but you're the one that's not willing to have a relationship with me. Not even to go to a simple lunch or dinner to meet my husband. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
my mom hasn't met my husband. And if like he asks to go like on a dinner or something, she'll say no. She's respectful about it, but she'll say no.
Yeah. That's tough. That's
Mhm.
that's the heartbreaking thing about it all is their ability to just cut off people. It's so hard. And I mean, you hope at some point something shifts and changes, but the likelihood of that is usually pretty low, especially with
Yeah.
people who are very, very set with the rules and regulations. Like my family's that way, my husband's family is that way. Like
Hmm.
that's never happening. That's never
Yeah, I don't
happening.
know. There's a lot
Yeah.
of changes, yeah, but it's but then I'm like, okay, but why the change? And then you look into like the Norway stuff and like all
Hmm.
this I'm just like,
Yeah.
really? That's why they changed that?
Yeah.
Like now
There's a
that I'm
reason
out,
for everything. There's a
I'm
reason for
just like,
everything.
no. Like if only like y'all knew what's
Yeah.
really going on, you guys wouldn't be there. Or
Yeah.
you would at least like question these things. Like
Hmm.
it's okay to question them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's
one thing. So you obviously still have a relationship with God, and that's one thing that my journey has been very, very interesting since we've left. It was kind of like I don't want to know God. I don't care about this when we first left, and now I'm kind of rekindling all of that. But I don't understand how they can even like look at the Bible and realize like what we're doing isn't wrong. The Bible tells you to question things and question leadership
Mhm.
and question
Mhm.
teachings and prophecies that are being said by men that aren't coming true. And you're supposed to do that. If it doesn't align with God, then it's not from Him.
Yeah.
And yet they can't see that. Like that's my
Yeah.
arguing point so many times with especially Jehovah's Witnesses that come into my comments on social media, and it's like they don't ever respond. It's like, okay, so obviously you're choosing to like close your eyes to that side of things and just pretend it doesn't
Mhm.
exist.
Mhm.
It's just sad. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I'm glad you have been through the stuff you went through because I do think this story is so important. Like I said earlier, like we don't know if, okay, let's say we have a sister or a parent or someone we love in there. We don't know what's going through their mind. They could be going
Mhm.
by looking from the outside in as, you know, somebody who is so spiritual and will never wake up. And yet they could be every day battling with those thoughts of like, how do I get away from this?
Mhm.
I think that's a very important takeaway.
Mhm.
And just continuing to educate yourself even after you leave to the realities of this organization. Because I do think there are people who have been out for years who I think still sometimes can hold on to some guilt, I guess, of like they still were in the wrong. You know, they're not good enough for that organization. I think it's very important to continue to educate yourself on the organization for what it really is because it can be eye
Mhm.
opening. It can be very
Yeah.
eye opening.
Yeah. 100%. Totally agree.
Yeah. So I always like to kind of end with a couple things. One thing is if you could give advice to somebody who was you, who was stuck in there, mentally trapped, or those who are freshly leaving, or those who have been out and are still dealing with kind of that guilty feeling, do you have any advice for those types of people?
I would say, I think prefacing the same thing we were just talking about, like, it's okay to question. It's okay to do your own research. I know it's going to feel wrong because it felt wrong for me even after leaving. I didn't want to watch anything my husband was showing me, but it's okay to do so. You know, we have free will at the end of the day. We can do what we want. And if you still choose to believe in God, pray to God.
Mm-hmm.
Have Him guide you in the right direction. Um, like I still be praying because I don't know like what direction I'm gonna take or if where I'm at is just what's gonna be best for me. But like really question, pray about it. If you still have a relationship with God, if you choose not to have a relationship with God at all, that's cool too.
Yep.
But I will say set yourself up for success. Um, cause I don't know. If I would have left abruptly, I don't think I would be where I'm at today. It also sucked to have to wait it out so much because
Yep.
maybe I did lose on a lot of things. But I also think it's allowing me to enjoy life so much more now that I'm out.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, I would say still question and pray about it. Like
Yep.
really be honest with yourself. You don't have to be honest with anyone else. You don't owe anyone else anything. Do it for you. Be selfish. Like it's okay to be selfish once in a while. Like be
Yep.
selfish and spiritually in your own spiritual journey. For sure.
I love that. And I think especially in a situation like this, like it's okay to be a little selfish.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the advice of setting yourself up for success because
Yeah.
it's a very difficult journey to walk. And if you aren't quite prepared for that, I feel like that's when you typically see the people who end
Yeah.
up in bad situations or, you know, have struggles outside of it. And I feel like the more prepared you are, even if it is hard to get to that point, the better,
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Now, always like also everyone to kind of finish talking about the things they're so proud of about themselves, things that
Mm-hmm.
they've done and accomplished in life. So, what are some of those things you're proud of?
Let's see. First of all, I'm proud of myself for leaving
Mm-hmm.
because that was big. And I think that's like a pat in the back moment for myself. Because it does take a lot to leave a whole life behind you. I'm proud too that I have been able to actually speak out about my story, where I come from and who I was and who I am becoming. Because sometimes that is very hard to admit because you are so stuck in how you were raised and everything that has been ingrained in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And moving away from that or stepping aside from that is very hard. because it's so ingrained into you. It's a part of you, and that's all you want to do. But I'm proud that I've been able to like take a step and like open my eyes and be open-minded about other things. I'm also proud of myself for like opening myself to love. Like, man, I never thought I was gonna fall in love the way I have with my husband, you know? Um, being a Jehovah's Witness, I think I had a lot of like prospects and a lot of people like, Paulina, you're so pretty. Like, you got guys like up and like, no, no. First of all, JW men, very immature. Like they're not ready for success themselves. Um, there was no way I was going to fall in love in there. And if I did, it was just going to be to escape something. So I'm very glad that I opened myself to getting to know someone outside of the organization. And that person ended up being my one and only love. And that we're together today and that we have navigated this whole thing together. My in-laws, his parents, have been super supportive through the journey. The family, his extended family, a lot of them don't even know my story, but yet they've taken me in with open arms, not even knowing who I am. When some of them that have found out what I've been through, they're like, we loved you, but now we love you more,
Yeah.
So I'm just so, it's that. I think one last thing, I never thought I was going to go to a Christian church. And I'm still very uncomfortable about it.
Okay.
And I'm proud I've taken this step to at least go to support my husband. And that in a way I am a part of their community because he's very part of it. So like whatever he does, like I'll go and I'll join him and I'll be a supportive wife. There's also been opportunities just for me recently. And I still don't 100% agree with a lot of the teachings. Okay. Again, it's a lot of things that are still ingrained in us.
Yeah.
But they've been so open and so like understanding that they don't judge me for like coming out and being so blunt and saying, well, I don't believe that, I don't agree with you, or no, I'm gonna do it this way. And they'll be like, yeah, that's fine, don't worry. So I'm proud of myself for taking those, like, I guess the 3 big steps in my life. I don't know if I'll ever fully commit to identifying myself as like to being part of like a Christian church. It feels very uncomfortable, and I still don't agree with a lot of the teachings. So, but I do love the people there, and they treat me very nice and very sweet. They were very supportive for our wedding. And they've just been very sweet overall. So I can't complain, but I'm proud of, not judging them, because that's what I used to do. I used to judge them.
I feel like that says a lot about how your healing journey is going. Being willing to even get to that point of stepping foot in a church, because I know for a lot of people that is, obviously whatever your path is when you leave is your path, and I think it's beautiful, but for those that continue to want to still have that relationship with God, I think that's a really big, like, hard thing to get past, that hurdle of, like, you're kind of, like, weird feeling about churches and stuff outside of what you were raised.
I'm like, Jehovah hates me right now. He hates me.
Well, I think it's amazing. You are such a strong person. I think the fact that you're sitting here even so soon after you leaving and being able to talk about it, and I think that's something definitely to be very proud of. So I'm honored to be here today and hear your story, and now we can be friends.
We can be friends. We'll exchange phone numbers, everything. Yeah, I'll go visit you. Yeah. You come visit me.
There we go.
Let's go to Disneyland together.
I love Disney. Let's do it.
I just got back. I was there this weekend.
Oh gosh, how fun. We haven't been in a couple years. I'm getting the Disney itch. I'm like, I need to go back. It's so much
fun. And then we're going to Disneyland Paris in 2 weeks, so we're super excited for that.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm gonna have to follow. If you post on social media, I'm gonna be like living vicariously through.
100%.
Okay, well, we finish off every one of these videos with a toast. So I know I asked you at the beginning if you had one, so I'm gonna let you give your toast now.
So my toast, and I got coffee with me.
I always say I'm gonna have a different cup and I forget, so we're going
You
with
know,
this other time.
I was gonna bring out the wine, but I forgot to grab wine yesterday at the store, so I was like, okay, can't do the wine glass. I really wanted to do like official cheers, you know,
Yeah.
because now we can cheers.
I know.
Oh my gosh, I can't. All right. Well, my cheers is for anyone who hasn't left yet because they're in doubt, and for God to give them the courage to leave.
I love that.
Mhm.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to them. Yeah, because I feel bad for them. I was there too, you know, we were both there.
Yep, it's such a hard place to be. As hard as the leaving is and the losing people, I would rather that side of things than the like being stuck in there and that feeling that you just have all the time of like this weight on you. It is not a fun thing to go through.
It is not. It is
So
not.
let's hope more people can continue to find their way out, which is
100%. Yeah.
the goal.
Well, I'm really proud of you too. I've heard your story. I listened to it.
Thank you.
I also saw the episode of when you met your dad again.
Yes,
I'm like,
yes.
oh my God, so relatable. Like,
I
so,
know.
like, I'm like, man. But kudos to you and your husband.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys both for having this space for us to speak. My husband really appreciates this as well. He's been texting me this whole time. He was really excited for this. He's
Good.
gonna be happy that I said I do think it's a cult. So no, I just want to thank you. Your story has really helped me. You're one of the podcasters that I was watching in my healing journey, along with the Rook at Us Now.
Oh yeah.
So
Yes.
I think listening to your guys' stories has really helped. There's other JW ex-JW podcasters out there that, you know, through their research, I'm just like, oh my gosh. But no, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you.
Well, thank you for those kind words. You know, I started this kind of unexpectedly. Like, I told my story and it just sort of, I feel like this is my path I'm supposed to be on, so I'm just going with it. And I feel like if my voice can help others, or your voice, or any of these women's voices can help others, that's the whole goal in life. So I'm happy that I get to be here and help other people share their stories. It's been
And you're amazing at it. So no,
thank you.
you're the best. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm like, if you were to meet me in person, you'd probably be like, wow, she does not talk this much in person, and she is more awkward in person. But hey, the camera makes it easier.
I'll make you talk. I'll make you talk. Hey, your husband can talk.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was watching that one and I was like, man, he gets into it.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the story from his perspective.
I did.
I really
I'm
did.
so glad he did it. I know it's hard for him, but it's funny because when I met him, he was just this spitball and like was crazy and talked so much, and that's why I was like so attracted to him. And I'm like, I do this, you know, every week, and he's like, I don't know how you do that. I'm like, I don't know how you talk in real life with people all the time, because I'm always just like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Like, I'm the more like introverted of the two of us, I feel like. So well, thank you again so much for being here, Paulina. This was such a pleasure. We will definitely keep in touch. Do you have a social media you would like people to find you on? I can make sure to leave that in description.
Yes, you can find me on TikTok as Paulina Ponce. My tag is a little bit complicated. I have to make it complicated so it doesn't like bounce off with like work. But you will see me there, Paulina Ponce. And then I also have my email there, jakebellponce2025@gmail.com, where you guys can reach me if you guys have any questions, so on and so forth.
Okay, perfect. I'll make sure to include everything in the description so people can get in touch with you if you want. I'm trying to also create this way of people to have, you know, friendships of people that they have. We can all know what this path is like to walk together. So
And if
it's just nice to have that common ground.
any ex-JW community from Phoenix, Arizona, or West Phoenix area, you know, you got a girl here, just let me know, and we'll go for coffee, we'll go for dinner, we'll go for some drinks, and we can chat it up more.
I love that. I think that's great. I love that so much. Well, thank you again so much for being here. I think this is a great place to finish. Again, I will include in the description all of her contact information. And as always, I end this with, if you have a story you have to tell as well, please reach out to me. I have a Google form that makes it easier for me to kind of keep track of things. You can also reach out to me on social media. I just trying to get as many voices out there. I think the more out there, the better. I am a firm believer in that. And I already have so many women lined up, so I'm excited for that. Another thing I'm excited for, I'll do another video more in depth with that, but I am going to be opening up a online voicemail for people to call in with questions. Anything from why do the Jehovah's Witnesses believe this to how do I get out? What's a pathway to get out? I'm going to start doing some Ask Alyssa, I'm almost said my name wrong, Ask Alyssa segments. So I will probably have that in the description here as well that you guys can call. We will start getting some questions in and we're going to go from there. So again, thank you guys for being an amazing, amazing community and giving all of these strong women support. Make sure you give Paulina some love in the comments of this video today. Reach out to her, connect with her. This has been such a great conversation. And as always, thank you guys for being just the best community. YouTube, hands down, the most supportive community out there. So thank you guys. And I'll see you all on the next video next week.